gentlemen, start your...
Welcome to Jack Dodsons Racing Insider News. It's Tuesday night, 7 o'clock. We're ready to go. We had a good time down in Charlotte.
Yes, sure
a lot
did.
of news this weekend. The K&N cars were at Dominion. They had a big late model race there.
It's a whole bunch of, we'll go through the winners from the weekend. Up in Indy, Alexander Rossi, the first American to win the race
Right.
in a little while.
And a rookie.
And a rookie won the race. That was pretty tough. And Lewis Hamilton won at Monaco in the Formula One race. Down at Southern National, Rusty Daniels won both of the twin races down there this weekend.
40 laps.
How about at Bowman Gray, the first 75-lap race at Bowman Gray, Tim Brown won. The second one, Jason Myers won. And he kind of got himself to the front with some aggressive moves. Down at East Bay Speedway, Buzzy Ruderman won the race at East Bay Speedway.
80-some years old, and he's still kicking it.
Did an outstanding job from what I understand. He wasn't even driving his car.
Oh, really?
He was
Well, that's
driving-
right. We heard that his car is not ready yet.
Yes.
It ain't going to be ready till September, according to his car owner.
Up at New Jersey Motorsports Park, the ARCA race up there, Parker Klingerman won the race in a Dodge. That was unusual for them. He he's had one of the old Penske Dodges and won the race. Paul Andrews was the crew chief on that car.
Okay.
At Caraway, Lee Pulliam won at Caraway, and our buddy Thad Moffitt finished second. And that was from what I understand, it was a pretty close race up there
really?
too. At Orange County, Lane Riggs won the late model race at Orange County. At Hickory Speedway, the Big Ten Challenge for the Bojangles late models, Dexter Knight won the race. Over at Concord, and wish we'd known this was going on, we'd have been over there too, but we didn't know.
Concord or Bowman Gray would have went to.
But the mods were over there at Concord. Bobby Mesmer got his first win over there at Concord Speedway. The late model race was won by Ryan Moore and Jared Irvin. Ernie Irvin's son finished third. Down at Greenville Pickens, Chase Purdy won both of the 75 lappers down there. At Five Flags Speedway in Florida, Harrison Burton won the late model, or super late model race down there. And at Dixieland Speedway, Brent Robinson won what is their equivalent to a late model, the All-Star Division. And he won that race. And then at Charlotte, where we were, the Xfinity winner was Denny Hamlin.
That was an exciting race.
That was a good race. And then the Cup winner was Martin Truex Jr. Was there anybody else in that race?
Not to had anything for. I heard that Jimmy Johnson made the comment after one of the restarts. We didn't hear it that Truex chased him down and got under him, and he said just went by him. He said, "Man, I never lifted. What the hell? What does he got? Because I never lifted. He should not have went by me like that."
And he led 392 of 400 laps, which was a record. The last record was by Fireball Roberts there at the 600. I think he led, 380 some?
I don't know.
I heard Kerry Tharp talking about it, but I didn't get the number that he said. But it was we had a good time down there. We hung out a little bit with Ron Devine, Bob Levine,
and I enjoyed talking to him. It was a lot of fun.
He spent a lot of time with us, and then of course Friday we got to spend the day at the Speedway Harley Davidson. Pat Rogers, Ed Heinz, and that group had a great. It was a great thing going on up there for the veterans, for the veteran race car drivers. Kurt Busch showed up. Real good. It was a real good thing to show that they had a lot of stuff going on for the veterans there.
They did, and they honored each one of them. It was a neat event they put together in, was it 60 or 90 days?
60 days.
It was a big event. They had food. They had 50 NASCAR. I don't know what the proper word I'm looking for. Personalities some old timers. We got to meet quite a few of them. Benny Parsons' wife was there, which he's going in the Hall of Fame, so it was nice to talk to her for a few minutes. And then the guy who started Dale Earnhardt Incorporated originally,
Gray London.
That was a pretty interesting.
And he also wrote a book on Curtis Turner, which was really cool. And I wanted to get the book. I was going to go back and get it, but I never did. But that was we had a great time there. Got to spend a lot of time with some folks. Left there and went over to see Sam Bass, and that was probably pretty neat too. It was for him to. He was there. He stopped what he was doing and took us on a tour of his.
When they were having a private event, he stopped what he was doing and took us around and showed us all of his stuff. And man, that dude has got a lot of stuff. And he not only does just portraits and designing stuff. He's also does guitars and painting the guitars. And man, it was pretty neat. He's done a lot for some country. Kiss. He does a bunch of their guitars.
A lot of
Brooks and Dunn. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It was way cool for him to take some time out of his schedule to do that.
And he's moving to a new shop on the other side of the racetrack that's over by Doug Herbert's place. And I understand he's going to try to expand it a little bit, and then he's going to have a place to eat and a little bit of everything going on there.
Like a little destination. So it'd be pretty cool.
And then we went down to Stuart Haas. And got a little tour of the Stuart Haas. You got an inside look at the radiators, and
I did. I just couldn't believe the amount of money that is spent on radiators. It just blew my mind. I was telling some other people, like, how much you think a radiator costs? They were like, $500. I'm like, no, they pay about that much every week to clean them. That just blew my mind.
What was it, $20,000 for the radiator and the air and the oil cooler all at the same time?
Radiator was $12,000. The oil cooler was $8,000. And you got they're completely custom made from out in Germany or Switzerland, somewhere overseas. And it'll take you 2 to 5 months to get it.
And of course, we got to see our buddy Walleye. Michael Allen had a great. He spent a lot of time with us. Of course, he won't really doing anything anyway. So
it was a lot of fun. Sean, you're in the wrong business. Yeah. Selling that kind of money for radiators, I'm in the wrong. But NASCAR's actually implemented for some of their races. What we learned, a spec radiator, which is a lot less expensive. And they'll have those things on the shelf and can get them in weeks opposed to months. We don't know yet if that's going to be implemented through all of the cars. So it's like I think the Speedway cars were the first ones to get it, and it's going to cut costs down tremendously, and everybody's going to be in the same box. And you can't, now they're making them any way they want. This rule that's in just the Speedway cars, I believe, it's all kind of spec. NASCAR dictates a lot of it. They can put the radiator hoses where they want, but the manufacturer that makes the radiator, and I think there's 2 or 3 that can make them. Those guys have to assemble and make it however they're asked to. So that's going to cut cost way down.
In other words, the inlet and the outlet of the two of the radiator. They can put them where they want, but they have to be approved by NASCAR, and it has to come from the factory that way. They can't do it themselves.
Correct. So. They got in a little trouble for that.
Yeah. But it was good to see Walleye. He's up and walking around and talking.
Barely walking, but he's walking around.
But talking. But they didn't do anything to his mouth, so I guess that ain't going to change.
Well, yeah.
But we had a great time with him. Went over to the GoPro Motorplex.
That's a neat place. I can't wait to try it out one day. I tried to talk you into getting on the track, but you wouldn't do it.
No, not then. I wasn't going to do it then. But I thought we forgot about going back the next night, or I didn't think about it no more. You would go over there and hang out with your buddy Bucky and
Bucky Burt,
and go do some racing over there. But we never did go back over there. Saturday we kind of spent all day at the track. That's basically all we did on Saturday. Watched the Xfinity race. Hung out in the media center.
We did, but man, that was a great race.
It was a good race.
Did see Denny Hamlin come back after leading, and what was the penalty? Oh, they had a loose tire, so they had to go back to the back of the field, but then had to go to the longest line, and to come back and then get the caution, and it got back up to third. Then the caution come out. What's up, Clayton? And then come out 6th or 8th.
6th.
And in a lap, of course, he had new tires, and then the two guys on the front row, Kyle Larson and who was the other one? They didn't take tires. I thought a few more people would have stayed out.
But I mean, he was. I think he was the first car on 4 fresh tires.
Yes.
After that caution flag, and
yeah, Austin.
It didn't take long for that.
Yeah, Austin was in front of him. He had taken 2, but those new tires, I thought Kyle Larson was going to be able to kind of hold him off, but it was funny to watch him going into 3 because he didn't lift. I thought he was going to try to jack Denny up, which I would have probably done too, but he got down to the middle of the corner and his car just said wham and hit the wall. He wasn't very happy, but he tried. I mean, what
nothing he could have done
2 weeks in a row, or what, 3 weeks, 4 weeks in a row, somebody comes up at the end and gets by you. So that was fun. That was a
good race.
And we did our pace car ride.
Yeah, we did a pace car with JJ Yaley. That was a lot of fun too.
We'll have JJ on next week, right?
Right. He'll be here next week.
So we'll talk to JJ about the. Curious, is that boring to do, or is it kind of fun? Driving the pace car ride, you know.
That was fun to me.
I'm talking about from his perspective. I mean, probably.
Oh, he was probably not as thrilled as we were. Of course, he got fed a lot of bad information before we got started.
What do you mean?
Well, we're not going to go into that right now. But he drove it for the race. These are for the pace car rides. They did.
Yeah, and which I didn't know until Saturday. They had Mark Martin come into the media center, which was really pretty cool. Listen to some of the stories that he had. He had no idea that he had gotten into the Hall of Fame. He was actually in Indy cleaning the bugs off his windshield when somebody texted him, and he just figured that he was going to be in the Hall of Fame down at Alabama.
The Motorsports Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Motorsports Hall of Fame. And then he got a few phone calls, a couple more texts, and realized that he had been inducted into the NASCAR Hall of Fame. So that was pretty interesting. And he is still so humble, though. You know,
he said he wouldn't have voted for himself.
Yeah.
You know, if it come down to it, he wouldn't have voted for himself either. So
yeah, but that was pretty interesting. And he was the pace car driver for the Indy 500 and for the Coca-Cola 600. So
on the same day, so
he flew him and his family back out there, and then dropped them off, and his motorhome was there. Then NASCAR picked him up after the Indy race and flew him back here.
So and he has to spend the week here this week doing a lot of press stuff for the.
And that was the first time he had been back to the racetrack since he had quit. He said he didn't feel like he belonged.
And so while we're on the subject of the Hall of Fame added 5 new members this year.
Mm-hmm.
Raymond Parks, who was one of the earliest people involved in NASCAR from the start.
Mm-hmm.
He was the money basically when it got started to back Bill France. And now I'm just going on what that show on CMT said.
Oh no, I haven't seen it. No.
But that's what they said. He was basically the money behind it. He had deals with certain drivers to drive in the early years, and maybe that thing with CMT helped get him in, but I don't know. Benny Parsons is in the Hall of Fame. Martin is going in the Hall of Fame, and Richard Childress and Rick Hendrick. And it was nice to see Richard Childress and Rick Hendrick in the media center afterwards. We got to.
It was. I mean, we learned something there that the I was going to say Days of Thunder. What is Days of Thunder?
Days of Thunder is a movie. Yeah.
That the whole fight between the two drivers in the movie was actually based on Dale Earnhardt and Jeffrey Bodine. That was actual conversation, and they had to go meet with Bill France Sr., I believe.
Mm-hmm. No, that was Junior. Bill France Jr., yeah.
They were going to stop messing his show up, and it was funny because Rick and Childress were sitting there, and they were like, every time our cars were tore up every week, and we look over at the other one, look, man, I won't drive in the car. Of course, Rick said, Childress said it more than me. And then a few stories about Tim Richmond.
Yeah, Tim Richmond. How great Tim Richmond would have been had he been able to stay in racing. And then the thing about how him and Earnhardt played with each other all the time. And
yeah, that was funny. It was a quick story of well, I don't know. We don't really have much time. Well, that I guess Tim Richmond was leading Pocono, I believe it was, and they had a 14-car lead. And Tim comes over the radio and says, "Rick, are you there?" He says, "Yeah." He said, "Watch this." So he slowed down, got behind Dale Sr., which was running second, and got to the flag stand and jacked him up. And he said, "Man, you don't do that to Earnhardt." He said, and then passed him back and took back off. So I would have loved to see more, and that was kind of before my time. Probably not yours, but it was before my time.
Are we going to start that already again tonight, huh?
Thanks for the love. But it was a cool story.
All right, let's get Taylor Robbins on here from Bowman Gray.
Bowman Gray Stadium.
Oh, turn.
Hello?
Is this Taylor Robbins?
It is.
How you doing? This is Jack Dodson from Jack Dodson's Racing Insider News. I've got Scott Allen here with me, and we're glad to have you on tonight.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Now, before we get started, you got a glowing recommendation for last week from somebody.
Well, I mean, you got to consider the source too.
Well, somebody down there was paying you all kinds of. I mean, they thought you were the greatest thing in the world, and I don't know how you like Chris Fleming or not.
Oh, my God. Did you show with Chris?
Chris was on the show last week, and he was telling us all about how good you did and everything.
How good you were.
And he said the thing he said about you that was most important of all, and he said that you can race and you can drive, and you're pretty too.
Well, that was nice.
He said you're a whole lot better than Danica. He said Danica can't drive. He said Danica can't drive, but you can drive.
Oh, that was nice, man.
Well, tell us a little
I'll
bit.
have to thank him.
Tell us a little bit about that first win you got down there. I know that had to be a huge moment for you.
Yeah, it was. Oh gosh, it was crazy. It was great.
So that's good. I mean, and from what we understand, you were the first woman to win at Bowman Gray.
Yeah, I'm the third. I'm the first one to win in like 18 years, though.
Oh, maybe that's what it
Okay.
was.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. So tell us a little bit about the race.
Well, we don't get to qualify. We draw to a bag for starting position. So I drew outside pole that night, and then I don't know, I got the lead right from the go, and then, my spotter kept telling me that it was okay not to overdrive it, that I was pulling, and it was fine. So, yeah, we had a good night. We led every lap, so
Now,
definitely cool.
now, Chris told us a story also that you've been beat on and pushed around and everything for the last little bit, but then all of a sudden you decided to get to the racetrack day and you said you weren't going to put up with it, and you went on and won the race.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I kind of went into this season where I was like the attitude of I've had enough from everyone. I better make something good happen.
So give everybody a little background on Taylor Robinson. How did you get into racing, and where did you start from?
Yeah, I started when I was 14. My dad got me a go-kart, and I ran it for about 4 years, and then, we won a bunch of races and a championship and all, and then I wanted to move up to something bigger, so, yeah, whenever I was 18, Dad got me the race car, but he told me, he's like, you gotta win me a championship in a go-kart, and that's the only way you're getting a race car, so we won the championship that year, and next year we were with Bowman Gray, so. Yeah.
So how long have you been in Bowman Gray?
This is my 4th season.
Okay.
What's it like racing out at Bowman Gray?
Oh, it's awesome. Like as soon as you pull out on the track, it's the crowd, and you can hear the fans and everything. It's really cool, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know of any other racetrack that has close to 18,000 people there a week. Any short track anywhere that I know of.
Yeah.
So what is your plan for the future? Where do you see yourself going, or where do you want to go in the future with your racing?
I guess just stay at Bowman Gray. I'm content. I'm happy where I'm at. Just try to win more races over there and have good finishes. And I think we're going to run a few bigger tracks this year. We got like 4 races at some bigger places, so I'm looking forward to that.
Where are you going to be going?
We're going to Franklin County, Southern National, and Caraway.
Okay.
Yeah, 3 of them. Yeah. So.
There's some. Franklin's that's a rough place there.
I heard.
I think everything is rough there. The people, the racetrack.
So what division will you be running at these places?
It'll be street stock. Someone's putting on a 602 series for kind of like the Bowman Gray people. It's only like 4 races for us to go try out some bigger tracks to venture out a little bit.
So where did the number 40 come from? I see that on your Facebook page.
Yeah, that came from my dad, where he was always very modified, and when I got my go-kart, I made my go-kart look like just modified, and I copied his number, and I just kind of took after him, I guess.
So let me put a scenario. So if you and him were in the same race, who's going to win?
Honestly, I don't know.
That's a good answer.
I think I would outbeat him, but if we were like neck and neck, I feel like I'm the one that would like feel bad and be like, "Go ahead, Dad," and my dad goes the other way around. My dad would be like, "Oh, I'm gonna wreck her," and he'd wreck me.
Now, would that have anything to do with the fact that your dad, might be putting some money in your race car?
Maybe. Maybe.
It'd be a guilty win.
Now, out at Bowman Gray, there's a lot of history there, and those guys that run in the modifieds have been there for years. The Myers brothers, Tim Brown, Crazy Chris Fleming, those guys. Do you go to any of those guys from time to time and ask them questions and to see what they're doing?
Actually, Tim Brown is the only one I've ever went to for advice. We had our 50 lapper this past weekend, and it's the one time a year we get to qualify, and everyone knows Tim Brown qualifies pretty much on pole almost every weekend. So normally the once a year we do get to qualify, I'll go there and I'll talk to him, and he'll pretty much try to tell me what to do.
So you don't ask your dad, you ask somebody else?
No, I ask my dad, of course. But if you're talking about any other ones, then yeah, we're cool with him. So no, other than my dad.
Well, and I can understand you not going to the showstopper Chris Fleming. He's a different breed of character.
He is. He's cool.
You'd have to record it and slow it down so you could understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
He's really a great guy. We enjoy having him on and talking with him. And he sure sang your praise. He sure sang your praises big time last week.
He did.
That's funny. That's really funny. But that's cool. That's okay.
Yeah.
So,
awesome about that.
So when you see him this weekend, you tell him we told you about it.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you can tell him these guys were talking bad about you.
I'll be sure to ask him.
So you're talking about running these other tracks. Have you run any other tracks other than Bowman Gray?
No, I haven't. Nope. Wait, did you say about ran or about won?
Do what?
Have you ran?
Ran. I think so about once. Yeah, I've run Ace. We'll run Ace like once a year. It's in Burlington.
Okay.
But that's it. And I practiced at Caraway one time, but I never got the chance to race. So. Yeah.
All right. Well, give a shout out to your sponsors and everybody that's helping you out this year, because you can't do it all by yourself.
Especially your dad.
Yeah. Don't leave it.
Definitely my dad. Thanks, Dad. Just all my parents, Second and Green Tavern, Twin City Towing, Camel City Cabinetry, Superior Insurance, Gerardo Solutions, and all my guys. plus their butt each week working for me, so it's pretty great.
So do you it's your car, I mean it's your family car, right?
Yeah.
So how many people do you have actually working on that car? I mean, how much time do you spend working on it?
Well, it's like my dad, and then we have one other guy and me, and we're out there daily. And then we have a few other guys that come help us at the track and stop by the week. We've got probably 6 guys, I'd say 6, 7 guys, yeah. So come help.
Well, you got a good little crew there. You could get some things done with that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, we appreciate the time you give us tonight. It was a lot of fun having you on, and
congratulations
when you
on that win.
Go get another win, and go get another win, and tell Chris Fleming when you see him that the 2 guys from up in Virginia that he knows, that do the show up here. They really talk trash about him.
I'll be sure to tell them that Saturday.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
All right, well, we appreciate
Thank
it. Go out and get a win. We'll get you back on here real soon, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
I mean, it's pretty neat to be the first woman in 18 years to
Well, I
win a
thought she
race.
was the first one to win all together.
Well, that's what Chris had
That's
said.
what Chris said. Remember, he told
Well,
us
but
that.
I mean, you
Well-
got to consider the source.
That's true. Yeah, he's not the he's kind of like Robbie Allison. You don't. We're gonna have Robbie Allison on in just a few minutes. He'll be joining us in about 10 minutes.
Chuck said those were the days when we were talking about the old time racing. Yeah, those were the days, Chuck. It was definitely a different kind of racing then.
Well,
The competition wasn't as stiff as it is today, but people weren't scared to tear the car up, or you could rub on each other without tearing it up.
Look. Huh? Oh, there was a lot of them that participated but didn't get a whole lot of recognition for it. But Chuck, if you want to see some good old racing that kind of resembles what happened in the past, go to Bowman Gray. I hear that
place holds anywhere from 16 to 18,000 people a week. It's $10 to get a ticket. They do a lot of promotions and give a lot of tickets away. When you're selling 18,000 a week, you can give a few away.
and they have to get their season done from the end of the school year, and before the football season starts next year, they have to run their whole season because they run at a football stadium.
Yeah, if any of you guys don't know what Bowman Gray Stadium is, it's actually the track for track and field that around the football field for a college. I mean, and it's as flat as it gets. There is absolutely zero banking at all.
And if you run down in turns 3 and 4 and you run up high, you're going to be running into the wall because there is right up against the track is the wall.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no it's barely room for 2 cars out there.
Yeah. and it's some old-fashioned beating, banging.
And that's why the K&N cars are not going back there anymore, because they said they tore up too much stuff. They couldn't afford to go to Bowman Gray when you don't have enough room to do anything.
Oh, really? I didn't know.
So you looking up Robbie Allison?
I'll see what kind of dirt we can get on him.
Well, we're going to have Robbie Allison on. He's the first official blind race car driver.
Sean said he's taking his dad out there in August for the Friday, Saturday races. We're going to try to get out there sometime, Sean, because I have never been. I've seen pictures and we've heard a whole lot about it. But we definitely going to try to get out there sometime this year. Maybe in August, I don't know. August, I don't know if the school, do they race that far?
Yeah, they race into August, but then at the end of August, that's it, because the school season, their college, they're a college. It's Winston-Salem State. So what they'll do is, I think they don't start their season until September, so they have to be done by August. While we're on the subject, want to thank some folks that helped us out while we're down in Charlotte. Lenny Pataki, who helped us with a lot of things down there.
Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Ron Devine, Bob Levine. And it was great to see. It was great to go down there and see our old buddy.
Who?
Lugnut Morehouse.
Well, we got a weak signal at the moment, so people on Facebook can't see us. But yeah, Morehouse was there with some friends, and it was pretty cool to see him and his friend. His friend was quite entertaining, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't guess that Morehouse said biscuit anymore.
I don't know what the significance of biscuit was, but and what else was it? Biscuit. Damn, the whole thing.
Biscuit and what was it? Celery?
Celery?
Biscuit and celery. He said, for some reason, when Morehouse said it, he said it just didn't sound right.
The damn thing turned off and turned back on.
So anyway, that was a pretty big deal to be down there and see him again. We did see Al while we were there, Al Pierce, but we didn't really have a chance to sit down and talk with him.
Oh, I don't think he wanted to be seen with us because we were in the media side of it. I think if he was out there with the food where nobody would really see him, he probably would have talked to us.
Yeah, he came by us one time and. But what else we got to talk about while we're waiting on Robbie, the great blind Robbie Allison? I mean, he can't. I mean, Robbie Allison don't even know how old people are.
Yeah, he does.
Cool. All right, we're back on Facebook Live again.
Sorry about that. The tablet cut off, so for some reason it just restarted.
You got to take into consideration who owns the equipment.
The operator. You might want to text Robbie.
No, Robbie said he'd probably be closer to 7:40 before he could call.
Oh.
So I got a schedule. I rescheduled him to 7:40 and put Matt up later. Matt later.
So if any of you guys got a question for Robbie Allison, let us know. Who's going to be calling in a few minutes, and we can come up with something.
Yeah, we if you really want to know how a blind race car driver drives, just ask the question because Robbie will tell you. You know, there are probably some people in the arena racing that probably thought he was blind.
Huh? Robbie Allison, which is the son of Davey Allison. He is starting his driving career.
A little late in the game for him to be doing it, but he's trying to get in everything he can get himself into as far as racing.
He's been running down at
Anderson Speedway somewhere.
Won the second race, I think.
He ran. What was it? Street Stock Division. He was running down there too.
I'm not sure what division it is. My two boys on tonight, Matt and Robbie. Yeah. It's Mama Testament.
Wait a minute, Miss Testament. I thought we were. I thought we were your boys.
So do you have a thing we can pick on Robbie or Matt about?
Come on, Miss Testament. Oh, we need to get you back down here because Scott and I are really looking forward to having something to eat.
Or we could go somewhere nice and eat. So who won this weekend? She said us too. I'm reading that for you because I know you can't see it.
All right, in our picks this week, you won.
Between the three of us.
Between the three of us on the show, the three of us.
Gary
actually won because he had Truex. So
he called the winner.
And Clayton was second again. I think that's like 14 times he's been second. And I was last. I had Kyle Busch, and he was not happy when I saw him after the race, or after his race.
Yeah, after his race.
They were still racing. But yeah, he finished 33rd, so that wasn't his day.
The pre-race was pretty cool.
That pre-race was unbelievable. I watched some of it on the screen, the big screen back there. I know we were back there eating and everything, and I was watching on the big screen. And those helicopters and everything they were doing, it was unbelievable.
Clayton said, "Nice win, Scott."
Oh, Scott gets
Took
a
you
nice
10 weeks.
Scott gets a nice win. I win last week, and you want to talk trash to me. You're a soon-to-be banned from the show.
He said he's going to be at the top of the list soon. I said, I don't know if anybody can get over me. If you get close to me, you're in trouble.
That's all right, Clayton. I'm taking all this stuff in, all those little things that you put on Facebook last week while we were in Charlotte.
What did he put on Facebook?
I don't know, but we ain't going to go into it. But I'm putting all this down.
You're keeping a ledger.
People are going to have a lot to pay back. I mean, I'm gonna get you guys back.
You are?
Yeah, and the bad.
Well, I asked Lee about that at Richmond, and he said, "Oh, he probably will, but he's got to be here to do it." I said, "That's a good point."
All right, we're still waiting on the blind guy.
Rockin' Robbie.
He's not really blind.
He just can't count ages.
Yeah, he don't know nothing about age.
I don't know where he got it from.
He's a little weird.
But he seems to be having fun. I'm afraid of what he's going to say.
Hello.
Is this Robbie Allison?
It is.
All right, this is Jack Dodson. We have a show in Virginia called Jack Dodson's Racing Insider News, and I've got Scott Allen beside me, and I want you to know.
I think I've heard of y'all before.
And I want you to know that little text message you sent me today, you will also be paying for some stuff.
He was trying to.
I just want to say, old or not, you have great taste. That's a killer hat that you have on right now.
Isn't it?
It's sucking up.
I thought that it was the perfect time to wear this hat was when you coming on the show.
Did you think he wasn't going to pick on you if you bought the hat and if
he
you
better
wore it
not
on the
pick
show?
on. He better not pick on me with this hat.
Oh man,
he was already blaming me.
Well, look, I was telling somebody, we were talking a few minutes ago. I don't know if you were watching, but I said that we were going to have Robbie Allison on, the first blind race car driver, because he can't tell time. He can't tell how old people are. And you all right? Hello?
hey, are you there?
Yeah, are you there?
Hey, y'all are cutting out on me.
We are. We're good. We're sitting right here.
Y'all need to stop moving around.
We're not moving. We're sitting at a table.
What did you say?
Do what?
It's about the blind race.
Oh, we were talking to people earlier that we were going to introduce you as the first blind race car driver, because you don't know how old people are and stuff like that.
Hey, listen, I didn't get into racing because I'm good at math.
So tell us a little bit. Tell us what's going on with you.
Well, we've been racing down at Anderson on Friday nights in the Super Limited division, which is a new class down there. It's kind of it's a late model division, but it's kind of their own set of rules. And we've got a really fast car down there. It's been going really good. Car owner's name is Alan Leopard, and he's got a bunch of different types of cars. And actually right now we're for the past couple of days, we've been in the process of working out a few more deals with him to run some races in the Southeast Super Trucks for the rest of the year, and hopefully jump into some late model stocks, some limited late models, and just basically on the same plan that we've been on for the past 8 months or so, just trying to jump into anything we can, because we're really working on getting into an ARCA car next season and working on some speedway experience. So we're pretty dialed in, trying to get as much seat time as we possibly can, and it's been pretty busy, to say the least.
So how many races do you have set up for the rest of the year?
It's kind of up in the air right now. Initially at the beginning of the year we were looking at about 70 races, and we had a few deals fall through, some other opportunities come up, and I'd say that for the rest of the year right now, ballparking it, we're looking at
running another 30 to 40 races. So, I mean, still pretty busy, but definitely not as many as we were hoping to run. I mean, just with my experience and versus my age and everything, we're really just trying to get as many races in as we possibly can this year because the way that we're planning on it next year, it's pretty much on after that. So we're looking to get as many as we can.
When you look at the overall thing that you got going on this year, where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself progressing very well? Or are you still needing a lot more time that you think you need to dial things in?
Well, it's hard to gauge in some ways because I've jumped into so many different types of cars at so many different places, racing different types of people, and in a lot of ways, it seems like we almost reset when we go from place to place. But one thing my grandfather said to me from the beginning, right when I got back into racing, was jump into anything you can, any type of seat, and the biggest thing that you can do for yourself to be a benefit is to adapt to the seat you're sitting in. And so, I mean, it seems like in the past 2 years that I've been racing, I've probably been in 100 different types of race cars in all different types of tracks. As you guys know, I've been running everything from arena cars to super late models and everything in between. So in some ways, I feel like I've seen myself progress immensely, and in other ways, of course, I still see the limitations of my experience, and I have so much more to learn. But luckily, I'm surrounded by some really good guys that have helped me really fast-track that progress. And, they all seem to be pretty confident that next year will be time for me to go ahead and jump into that ARCA car and get after it. So all I can do is what I've been doing, and that's just trust the guys that know more than I do and do what they tell me to do. So I mean, hopefully I'll be ready for it.
Now, how much is your grandfather involved, and what kind of advice has he given you?
He has been incredibly involved. It's been. I know it's been a treat for him because that's what he tells me. But it's really been a treat for me, and having him come with me to races from the get-go. He was actually, I think he was at my first race when I got started back a few years ago. Just seeing his eyes light up and knowing how excited he gets to see the number 12 on my car and running around the track and seeing the progress that I make, just seeing him get so excited has been great for me, and the advice, a lot of the advice that he gives me has really been more mechanically so much as, being on the track. His memory is somewhat limited, and so, the advice that he can give me is just what he can give me, but a lot of it's, making a small adjustment here or there on the car, and then really just general advice that he gives me to live by. He always reminds me, I'm apt to kind of go in full force all at once, and he knows that about me, and so he constantly reminds me, just work on improving a little bit at a time, one lap at a time, one race at a time, 1 week at a time, but always be striving towards your goals. And that helps me slow down but stay motivated at the same time. And, of course, he has his Robbie Allison advice that, stop using the wall to turn left or turn left better, and your typical, smart house remarks. But, I mean, it all helps, and just having him around and having him be my best friend at the track, and he's actually, I would say that some of the best advice he's given me has really been just keeping me out of trouble. A few weeks ago, we had a waiting car down at Anderson, and somebody did not like me passing them and turned me into the outside wall. So after the race, I told my granddad, "Hey, I'll be right back. I'm going to talk to that guy." And he grabs my wrist and says, "No, you're not." And I said, "I can't believe that you of all people would stop me from going and talking to somebody after a race when they intentionally wrecked me. I've seen you packed up a lot worse than I have." And he said, No, you're not going over there because that guy's a lot bigger than you and he's going to knock you out. So I said, "Okay, that's fine. I'll just line out over here and put the bumper back on it."
That's pretty funny. I mean, it's got to be a lot of fun considering the circumstances between you and your grandfather, you know, with your dad being gone. So it's got to be a lot of fun for him. It's got to be a lot of fun for you, and I'm sure both of you sort of bring a great connection to one another doing these things together, and then especially with your grandmother just passing, which, you know, our control, I can't even say, yeah, on that, and giving him something to do. It's just got to be pretty cool and special for the both of you.
Absolutely, it has been, you know, and after my grandmother passed away back in December, my grandfather and I, two years ago when I first moved to Morrisville, North Carolina, I didn't know, other than visiting them on holidays and everything, I didn't know much about this area moving from Nashville, Tennessee. So I moved in with my grandparents for about 6 months, maybe 7 months. And, you know, it was supposed to initially just be a couple of weeks before I got on my feet and found my own place. But we were having such a good time that they begged me to stay for a little while. And I said, sure. And it turned out to be one of the best experiences of my life so far, you know, getting to be that much closer to my grandmother and my grandfather in individual ways. And we all took it really hard when my grandmother passed away, my grandfather most of all. And we sat down and I said, you know, I don't know how you're feeling physically, and I don't know how you're feeling emotionally, but if you want to, I would love it for you to travel with me this year, and, you know, just come to as many races as you can, as long as your schedule you know, coincides with it. And he just lit up like a Christmas tree. He was so excited about it. And that's what he's been doing, is really just coming with me as often as he can. You know, we've gotten a lot of rain out, and so we've missed quite a few races so far. But when we did get to race, he's been there, and I've seen him grow, it seems, younger with each race, you know, getting to be around the track again. And he really comes alive around short tracks more than anything. I think that he's gotten used to being into cup races and, you know, kind of going through the motions. And so being able to get back to his roots and be at short tracks again and around late models has been a blessing for him. And I'm glad to be a part of that and to see the progress in him as we go.
He probably keeps you out of trouble on the weekends, too.
Sometimes I'm keeping him out of trouble. I'm sure he's a little bit harder to keep up with than I am, but it's definitely a give and take.
Robbie, when you look back at the history of the Allison family, how much? I mean, you said you didn't know them except for the weekends or the holidays you came to visit or whatever. But how much time have you gone back in your time and looked at the Bobby Allison stuff, the Davey Allison stuff, to see what all they did back in the day? How much time did you spend doing that?
Well, you know, of course, in the past couple of years, I could be a historian on my own family at this point. But when I was growing up, once my grandparents moved here to the greater Charlotte area, I would come visit them at their house. My grandfather has this little garage. I'm actually sitting outside of it right now. And it has a big sign on it that says Pop-Pop's Workshop. And when you walk inside, there's an 86 Buick Grand National, and there's a old Buick Rihanna. I don't know if y'all remember those or not.
Yeah.
It's a little Buick sports car that they made for a big period of time. And you usually see little rich ladies driving them, but occasionally you'll see Bobby Allison going down the highway in one. And all around the garage, he's got probably 35, 40 years worth of racing history, especially of him and my dad, my uncle, my great uncle, things of myself. And I can't even begin to describe how spiritual it is for me to walk around and just to kind of see the years pass by from a visual angle, you know, and to see the pictures of the experiences they had together, and you know, the trophies and the victory lane pictures and the heartache and the cars on fire and the newspaper clippings and everything else. It really, it's a tiny little garage that brings a lot to my attention, you know. And you know, on top of the racing thing, just being able to walk around his house. And when my grandmother was still alive, she she would always point out these little objects that were laying around the house that you would never know had any meaning. One, I don't know if y'all ever watched the Chasing Davey special that they did last year, the year before, but she opens up the silverware drawer and pulls out this little butter knife. It was my dad's first little butter knife from when he was 2 years old, and being able to see all those things and experience, some of the pieces of my dad's childhood and my uncles, and just to kind of see their lives has been a huge treat for me.
Well, Robbie, we've had your mom on the show before and talked to her. I know it was hard for her to let you get into racing to start with, but has she come to grips with the fact that you're going to be a race car driver, and there you are,
Yeah, she has in some ways. She still gets a little bit out of shape about it, and my mom still lives in Nashville. We kind of have this long-standing joke now because she can't make it to many of my races, just with me being over here and not being so close to Nashville. But we have this joke. She gets really anxious when I'm racing when she's watching, and she'll typically go out to the parking lot to pace around and get on the phone with people to kind of get her mind off of it. And the first couple times she came to my races, something would happen. The car would break, or I'd wreck out, or something that would scare the crap out of her. And then when he started making this joke, like, hey, if you love me so much, stop coming to my races because I'm not finishing races when you show up. and then she shows up one night. I think we were at Highland Rim, actually in Nashville, close to her, and I had been racing side by side and 3 wide for like 30 laps, and ended up having this photo finish and won the race by like 100,000th of a second. I'm standing in victory lane, and my stepdad's there, my grandparents are there, and my sister's there, and I'm like, where is my mom? After the race, we find out she had been pacing in the parking lot because she thought somebody was going to wreck me, and she was freaked out. So one time she's there that I finish a race, I win, and she doesn't come to victory lane because she's pacing in the parking lot. So I was like, I think we know now the truth, and that's that you just need to stay at home and watch me from afar so I can win some races.
There you go. So what made you later in life decide that you wanted to start driving? What was the thing that sort of triggered you to say, hey, I really want to do this?
Well, I was when I was still living in Nashville, I was going to college and was going to Middle Tennessee State for journalism. I had this one professor that I got to have a pretty good relationship with, and he was kind of a cynical old guy. And I got to talking to him one day because he was a big race fan and knew all about my family. And he said, "Do you ever think about getting back into racing?" And I said, "Every day. It's still my dream." And he said, "Well, the biggest thing that you learn in college is what you're going to spend the next 15 years of your life doing. And if you feel like you're going to spend the next 15 years of your life doing something, you're going to end up, being miserable and hating what you did and thinking about what could have been. Then you wasted all that money that you spent on college, and you wasted those 15 years of your life. And so if that's the only thing that you see yourself doing for the rest of your life, then that's what you need to go for." And that weekend happened to be the fall Charlotte race, and I was going to spend the weekend with my grandparents. And my grandfather, he knew that I still had it in my heart that I wanted to race. And I had gone through high school and gone through most of college already, and was just starting to feel like, is it getting to be too late? Am I leaving my dreams behind already? And I went up to the Speedway Club at Charlotte Motor Speedway to see my grandfather, and all of these legends that are heroes of mine were up there. Ned Jarrett and Leonard Wood and my grandfather and Donnie and Marvin Tanch, all these old timers, just total bad to the bone race car drivers from back in the day. And they all greeted me and were happy to see me. And I pulled my grandfather aside and I said, it's really been on my mind to get back into it. And he immediately just lights up and told the whole room my grandson's getting back into racing. And I had people that were true heroes of mine, Marvin Tanch and Leonard Wood especially, that were so excited to hear that, and were telling me that they couldn't wait to see me race. And I'm thinking these are people that are idols to me. These are people that I've spent my life, wishing, dreaming that I could be like those people, and they're telling me that they've been looking forward to seeing me get back into racing and seeing what I can do. And I thought, if there's such thing as a smack in the face sign from God, here it is. Like I'm hearing, God kind of answer my questions and my prayers here. And it was like 3 weeks later that I was back in Nashville, getting back into racing. And after that, it was on. I had no question in my mind. I knew that was God's plan for me. That was my plan for me. And everybody else was, I'd hoped that they would support me, but I was going to do it either way.
Now, how long from there did you tell your mom?
It was a little bit of a butting of heads there for a minute. She was actually, after we had that conversation up in the Speedway Club, my mom was one of the first people I told, and she wasn't very happy about it, but I told her basically the same thing. I was like, Mom, I love you and I want you to support me, but if you don't, I'm going to do it anyways. And so everything that we've done has been as a family, and I don't want that to stop now. And she didn't talk to me for a couple days, and once she decided to give me a call, she was like, okay, it's on. We're doing it.
Well, that's good.
Now, when you look back at another one of these history things, when you look back at it, the legend of the Alabama gang, how does that make you feel to know that your dad and your grandfather and your great uncle and all these people were legends of the great Alabama gang, and now you're coming along and part of that mystique of that time?
It's a lot to live up to, and when I first got started back, I put a lot of pressure on myself to live up to people's expectations, and some people are more passionate than others about me getting back into it, and I would kind of hold all that burden on my shoulders. And the longer that I have spent behind the wheel and experiencing this life that I've chosen to live, I just kind of let some of that pressure off of myself, and it's a personal experience and it's a family experience, and I see, my grandfather is proud of what I'm doing. I'm proud of what I'm doing. The rest of my family, they tell me they're proud of what I'm doing, and I just have to take them at their word, and I believe in my heart that my dad's proud of what I'm doing too, and that means everything to me, and I hope that other people continue to support me along my journey. I hope that people, have fun watching what I do. And to me, that's one of my passions in the sport, is that I get to entertain people and people have fun watching me do it. But it really comes down to a very personal experience for me, and I have to take that pressure off myself, because it can be a lot to live up to. My dad was an absolute legend, and if I could be half as good as he ever was, then I think I could be pretty successful. So I'm just going to keep trying to get there and see where it takes me.
Well, Robbie, you got two fans here. Even though you do tell a lot of stuff about me that and don't understand things, but you got two fans here. We try to keep up with you everywhere you're going,
and we wish you well. I know it's got to be hard at times.
Yeah.
It can be, yeah, but it's worth it. That's I think that's just life for everybody. Is that it's sometimes the tougher things are, the more rewarding they are in the end, and
absolutely.
It's shown that to me too.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, well, we'll get back with you again. Don't be a stranger like you have been. Evidently,
we had to stalk him this weekend.
Yeah, we had to come hunt you down to find you.
I tried to run off and hide somewhere, but y'all sniffed me out somehow. I don't know how y'all did that.
Well, it's kind of funny, though. When we were walking up, and Scott says, hey, there he is. He's over there. And I was trying to figure out who he was talking about. It was you. And I said, well, you know what? That dude, I ain't been able to get a hold of him in a while. And I saw you looking like you wanted to run, but you didn't.
I would have, but I was really tired, so I just decided to stick around and see what y'all have to say.
Okay.
Well, the next time we come down to Charlotte and you're around, we got to hang out one night. You got to show me the town.
Yeah, I've got a couple ideas for us, but don't tell my granddad.
We won't tell Jack. We'll just tag. We'll just make him come with us.
Yeah, hey, that'd be fine.
Hey, and also I got a.
Hey, put your big boy pants on though, because I'm telling you, he's hard to keep up with.
Hey, but I got a message today from somebody. It was a blonde girl that used to come to the arena races, and she told me to tell you hi.
Who was that?
There was a blonde girl that used to follow you to the arena races. She told me to tell you hi.
Hey, let's try this DG for all the kids at home.
All right, Robbie. Well, we appreciate your time tonight. We can't wait. We're gonna get your grandfather on here next week, and that's gonna be a lot of fun. So, you keep in touch with us, all right?
Absolutely. Hey, thanks a lot, Jack.
All right, man. We'll talk to you later, man.
All right, hey Scott. Next time you can buy a hat too, and I'll be a cheapskate.
Oh, that was a good one. All right, maybe I will be a cheapskate.
I'll see y'all later.
All right, man.
Okay, bye.
He got you good, didn't
That was a good one.
Hey, is this Matt?
Hello.
Is this
Yes,
Matt?
it is. How are you?
Hey, man. I'm sorry we ran a little long with Robbie. You know he's kind of blind and
He's a talker.
Man, he does talk pretty good. That's one good thing about him. I like Mr. Robbie Allison. It's good to hear him on your show, and I had the privilege of working with him in the arena racing league, and man, he's a top-notch guy. So being a wheelman on that.
Yeah. So Matt, what you tested a few weeks ago? How did that go? And then what was it like to do your first late model race, man? That had to be so cool and so much fun.
Man, it was a dream come true, man. First and foremost, I got to give the
Oh, you just hung up on him. It was fine like it was. Man, old people problems. Just back on up.
Call from 80.
Hey man, sorry about that, Matt. Somebody, you know how old people are with technology.
my dad's like that.
Hey, wait a minute now. Come on. Hey, man, I was really.
Back then. What are you saying? Keep going ahead. What are you saying?
Wait a minute. I ain't finished yet. I was really liking you, man. I was really thinking, hey, this guy's cool and everything. And then you fire a shot at me like that.
Hey, I didn't say any names. You're a young buck still.
All right, I'm gonna let you go on that one then.
Anyway, man, Irv and Christine, they gave me the chance to live my dream at a just a high quality racing facility, and the test went great. We had to get out there on Friday, and it was an open test out there, so we got out there, feel the car out. We did some stuff to the front end, and made sure everything was tight, and I just really had to get in the seat and feel what the asphalt's really like, and man, did that place just have tremendous grip and so much speed. It was just an unbelievable weekend all around, man.
So was it everything you thought it would be, or what it would, was it different than what you were expecting, or?
Yeah, it's a lot more going on. First of all, 31 cars is just, it's probably the biggest field since I raced Macca go-karts back in the day. And to go out there in that size field, and we had brake troubles around lap 30, 35, and we had to pit, and my guys and girls got everything fixed up and got the brakes bled. We actually lost all brakes, so they got the brakes done, and we got back out. We went 12 laps down, but our main goal was to go out there and get my feet wet and finish the race in one piece, and that we accomplished our goal and more. And we picked up a lot of speed within 2 days. So I think there's a lot more potential there, and I think that we could really do something with that car. You know, a little bit more work, and we pick up a little bit more speed. And I got to get my line on. You know, I got to drive my line and get into a groove anytime I get out there. But it was amazing.
So Friday before the race, or Friday starting this past weekend, was your first time in the car?
Yes, sir. Friday we went out there and did tests 5 to 8, and it wasn't many people out there, which was kind of a good thing. And you know, we got to feel the car out, and we figured out a couple things as far as gear. You know, the gear was wrong, so we took it on back to the shop. We were going to keep it out there, but we took it on back to the shop, and we, you know, set the toe and changed the gear and did a couple little things. And man, we picked up 3 tenths.
That's a lot.
You know, just like that. The next time we went out, picked up 3 tenths, and then we put a new set of tires on, and they did the Euro style, you know, qualifying with 15 cars on the track. And I got hung kind of behind the car, but still picked up 4 tenths of a second with new tires on the car. So it was great, man. It was great.
So what is your plan now? Are you going to go back and do some more asphalt racing, or are you going to go back to the dirt and hang out there for a while?
Man, I'll be honest with you. Like I told you last show, I'll race anytime, any place. I don't, you know, whenever the right. I think Irv is happy with what we did, and I think he's going to give me another shot in the car. And we're also going to work on the car for him for Southside Speedway. He runs out there, so we're going to get that thing turning for him out there. And we're, you know, I'm so happy and just blown away that how everything folded into place, and we did this in a week. I mean, we put all this together in 1 week and went out there and finished the race and didn't touch a car, and man, it couldn't have gone any better. I think Irv will put me back in the seat. I think we got a good chance to go out there and be a top 10, top 15 car, no doubt, if we can make all 100 laps and you know, not have any problems. But I think we were right there with them, you know, until those brake problems came. I think if we would have been able to not have that problem, we would have been right up in the hunt, you know, top 10, top 15 finish on our first time out there. So. Yeah,
I mean, and where did you qualify? 21st?
Qualified 23rd, and I don't like making excuses, but the Euro style qualifying, I was expecting them to do single car qualifying, and you know, 15 cars out on that track, it's hard to get a real open spot where you can actually test the car and drive it in there deep, and I think if we would have had an actual qualifying run, you know, 2 laps, I think that we would have done a lot better than that. But you know, only time can tell. You know, I'll be able to do that qualifying one time. I understand they were trying to get the show in, and rain was on the way, and so I definitely a good call on Chris Steffi's part and Dominion Raceway as a whole. And
wait a minute,
made us feel right at home.
You said Chris Steffi made a good decision?
Yeah, he did. Everybody's hard on Chris Steffi.
Oh, I know.
I like Chris Steffi, man. Me and Chris Steffi have always been real. You know, he's always treated me good, and he's always treated my dad good out at Southside, and so I respect the man for sure.
Oh yeah.
They're hard on him. Us racers are hard on him. We gotta sit back and see how good we have it sometimes.
I agree with you, but I like giving him a hard time. But I get along with him too. But you made 8, man. You should be proud of yourself. I think you didn't tear the car up. You finished the race. Yeah, you had problems. That's part of racing. We know that. You've been around long enough to know that's racing, and there's just not much you can do about it. Those things are going to happen. Man, I would take that all day long, especially the first time in a late model on asphalt. I'd take that all day long.
And it was a stout field of cars. And I can tell you that firsthand. I was privileged to drive with, you know, Matt Bowman, Jeff Oakley, Nick Smith, and some of the best in the late model game were out there. And
absolutely.
Man, it was a dream come true. Honestly, it really was. And I'd like to give a shout out to Jeff Oakley and ERE and Chris Edwards and Shorty for their big win out there. They're untouchable in that they call it the Orange Crush. And man, they're fast, and they deserve all the credit in the world. You know, Shorty's always been been with me since go-karts. So, I definitely say congrats to them on their win, and they deserve it for sure.
So who did you go to before the weekend and say, hey, what do I need to know about Dominion Speedway?
I talked a little bit with Ryan Burrow at After Hours and Rick Townsend, which also works at After Hours. They're pretty tight knit with us, and they've helped me on my cars ever since I started in cars. Ryan put the setup on for my first win, and Rick Townsend and Ryan Burrow are two people that when they tell you to do something, you go and do it.
Yeah, you're talking about I don't know if I'm gonna put Burrow in the go-to guy. Nah, I'm just picking on Ryan. I love Ryan, but I mean you said two people right there, Rick Townsend and Ryan. I mean they're some of the best of the best.
Exactly, and it proves itself. Nick Smith winning the first two out there, as far as I'm concerned, and After Hours he's putting it on the map. Brian Burrow's got a good program going on over there, and he can do it on the dirt and he can do it on the asphalt. And like I said, if you're trying to find speed, you need to go to After Hours. But man, the weekend went great. I got to thank Shelter Arms and like I said, Irv Cook and Christine Cook for everything, man. Everything worked out great. Everything went smooth. For our first time, I mean, y'all seen a garage and y'all seen how the late models, how fast everything moves and everything, and I'm not used to that. And for the first time, for us going out there for the first time, man, I think it went very smooth.
Absolutely.
Well, now, this weekend you're going down to Clary's, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go down there and help my little teammate out, Chase Butler. It's his first time running, so I'm going to do a little bit of crew chiefing and a little bit of coaching, try to get him to, get up on the wheel. He did a great job in testing last Wednesday. We went out there. He looked like a pro out there, but I don't want to boost his head up. We're going to get him out there and get him right and just get lap speed, lap times, and seat time is what he needs. He's a young boy, and he's showing me something for sure. But we'll go out to Clary's this weekend coming up, and we got a race at Virginia Motor Speedway on June 11th. And hopefully Irv Cook will be calling me in a couple weeks to drive that thing again, man. That was a blast.
Well, we appreciate you calling and talking to us and letting us know what was going on. We were really following and seeing how you were doing. And, man, it was really great that you got a good finish. Or in your mind, you did a good job and got everything situated. We think you did great. So we'll have you back on here again real soon. Maybe you'll get that ride and we'll be talking about that.
Yes, sir. Sounds good. And thank y'all again for everything. And y'all keep this thing going, man. It's awesome. I really enjoy getting on the show with y'all, and look forward to talking to y'all again soon.
All right, man. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you again.
All right. See you, Matt.
Thank y'all very much. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
You too.
Matt's a nice kid.
Yeah, he is.
He
You
is.
can tell he was excited about getting that chance
Oh,
to run him.
absolutely. I would be too.
Yeah,
I mean, my head wouldn't fit in here if I got me a late
Well,
model
your head,
ride.
after that guy put that thing on that thing.
Hey, man, that guy can spot talent.
He had, for those of you who don't know what happened, there was a little thing done today about the champ cars running down in Florence this weekend. They were talking about the guy who won the last race and the guy who finished second. And the guy who's won a couple poles but ain't won nothing in Osborne. And then they talked about...
Somebody named me the Florence Flash.
Talked about...
Somebody come out there with a brand new stuff.
So now, from what I understand, there's a concern that he cannot get his helmet on because his head's so big. And they're going to have to wedge him in between the bars of the car.
Well, I don't know about that. It's like, hey, as long as I get in and we get back up front.
Well, maybe Gary will help you.
Hey, look, and to be completely honest on the cart, I just put it together and literally just went over and mirrored what somebody else had on their cart. We did finally put it on the scales the night before we left just to kind of see what we had, and we moved a few little things, and I just said, hey, we'll just see what we got. And I'm probably gonna do the same thing because I got to put my cylinder head back on because
Well,
they told me I couldn't bring
and
my
you know
cylinder
what?
head back.
You did good. You finished 4th.
I did.
But them other 3 cars, you were right there on them.
Well, I was. We was 4 wide for the win.
But thank God there was nothing behind you.
It was a lot of fun, and I totally enjoyed it. So we'll be back hopefully back down at Florence this weekend as long as everything goes all right. And go down there and see the place. It's a neat place. There's a guy down there with Racing Connection or something. He does a lot of stuff kind of like us, and I'll probably go talk to him. But John Weaver, I see you put on there. Did we make it to Twin Peaks? No, we didn't make it. That's not kind of his kind of place.
Well, but we were right across the street from Iron Thunder. All right. Before we go off the air, go ahead and let's do the picks. I'm first since I was last week. And we're at Pocono this week.
Pocono.
I tell you.
Oh, you're picking first?
Yeah, I finished last.
I just want to hear you say that.
I'm going with Brad Keselowski. All right, Clayton, it's up to you.
Do we know what Clayton's going with? Is Clayton on here?
Come on, Clayton. Tell us something.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see. Who am I going to go with? We'll think about it. I know Gary says he wants to go with the 24. Even though he picks last, I'm not going to pick him. Although he's been doing very well. I got to give it to the kid. He's kind of been outperforming the last month the other Hendrick cars, really.
He has been.
And it's fun to watch. And he is and I love the story about him taking them out to eat and not having any money.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. They were talking about he went out to eat and Jeff was going to pay for it. Jeff Gordon was with him. He was going to pay for it. But they went to sit down to eat and they ate and everything. And the place does not take credit cards.
They take cash only.
It
says on the meal. It's a $2,000 bill. They took the whole team.
Took the whole team, $2,000. They had steak and all kinds of stuff. And when the lady brought the bill, they brought it to Chase. They told him to take it to Chase.
Well, Chase said he was taking. He was buying.
Yeah. So he pulls out his credit card and the lady says, "We don't take credit cards." And he had no cash.
He said the most he's ever had on him was like $15. He doesn't carry cash. And Jeff rode him for a little while and said, "Hey man, this is your team now. This is yours. You got to buy." So finally, after riding him a little while, he said he stared at that woman holding the check for felt like 10 minutes. It seemed like, but it was he just looked at her and she said, "Sir, we don't take credit cards." And he said he just looked at her. And Jeff said, "Don't worry about it. I got it."
All right, who did he say? The 11?
Oh, you can see that? Yeah, Clayton said he's going with the 11.
That's pretty good because he's won some races up there. Ain't no doubt about that.
And I think I'm going to jump on the bandwagon. I'm going to go with the 78 this weekend. He won both races last year. And
No, he won one race last year.
Was it one race?
He only won one. He only won one race last year.
But Junior won the other one?
I forgot
I can't remember who won the other one.
He
But,
only won one.
I mean, he put a clinic on this weekend. If he's got anywhere near the car, he's going to be up front. And he has been.
All right, before we sign off, we've got a good show next week. We're going to have Robbie Allison and J.J. Yaley's going to be here. We're going to talk to him about our little pace car ride. And right now, that's all I've got that I know is going to be here next week.
Yeah, that's enough.
So anyway, all right, we'll talk to you all next Tuesday night. Same bat channel, same bat station.
Hey, bye guys.